Uh, Nicholas Gibbs, this morning I was hunting around. I went crazy before my show came on, trying to figure out what was happening in the market. And actually, or why the market was flat and Tesla was down. What was going on? I asked Rock. Rock didn't have a clue. And I asked Rock later on today, actually, a second time. And this time I asked the snarky version. And she says, "I wasn't down that much. What are you even talking about?" It's a very weird answer. Anyway, but actually, I finally figured it out. And it's something I've been talking about for years, and I did mention it this morning. But the whole business of Tesla sometimes acting like a high delta stock, like the Cathie Woods. And the Cathie Wood stocks were down big time today.
High beta stock.
I said beta. Did I say delta? I'm sorry.
Delta. Yeah.
I was getting backwards. High beta. Yeah. A high beta stock like the Cathie Woods. And I've been talking about that for years. Every day I mention it. I've probably mentioned it with you on the show, comparing it to the Cathie Woods, and they got crushed today, but they were way up over the last 6 months, 5 months, something like that. They've been way up. And so this was kind of just maybe a little uh, transition day, a little, taking the profits. What do you think?
So, well, let me clarify what you're referring to. Are you talking about the market itself, like the SPX, or are you talking about just Tesla?
So the market itself was flat, even with all kinds of good news. We'll talk about the market, the rest of the market,
Okay.
the what do you call it, the Dow and the Nasdaq and the S&P, and it was flat today, and a tad down at the end, but it was not down this morning. But Tesla was down, like $8, $10, whatever it was. But the Cathie Woods were down a lot, even more than Tesla was. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. Well, so I guess we can start with just talking about Tesla. So Tesla is, I mean, today was a nothing day for Tesla. If anything, it was kind of a strong day, believe it or not, for Tesla. Uh, just because it didn't go down. I mean, you can go back and you can look at Meta went down 2.5%, Coin went down 2%, Amazon went down about 0.75%, which is a lot for Amazon. Uh, Apple, I haven't even looked at Apple. Let me see. Apple went down 1.3%. That's a lot for Apple.
Mhm.
So in comparison to all those, Tesla should have, in comparison to those on the way it normally moves, you would think Tesla would have been down 3, 4, 5%, and it
Mhm.
wasn't.
Mhm.
So we got to make sure we're measuring with the same measuring stick, right?
Gotcha.
So in those regards, it actually did pretty good.
Mhm.
Um, Also with Tesla, we've got to right now zoom out. We are in the middle of Randy. I'm gonna do it. Let me share my screen.
Okay, okay, just a second. Yeah, we can manage that technology. There you go. You're up.
All right. So you got me? See me
I
good?
gotcha. There it is. Yep.
Okay. So if you guys see my screen here, this is Tesla stock. These are daily candles on a just call it 6 month window. You can see that Tesla stock is in this wedge form.
Yeah.
Why is that important? Well, because if we look at it, we've got higher lows. We can see
Hmm.
one here, one here, one here, one here, which is a bullish trend. But what's a bearish trend is when we have lower highs, which we
Yeah.
see here.
Yeah.
So this is creating this wedge.
Right.
So Tesla's either going to break out over 350 and into the 400s,
Hmm.
or it's going to break down to probably somewhere around here, around 246, 250.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen, right? That's not a guess or a hunch. It's just where the volume is. If
Uh-huh.
we break below, there's no volume to catch it until 250. If we break above, there's no volume to stop it till about 400, 410.
Hmm.
So we are in this, it's going to get tighter and tighter, narrower and narrower until we decide which way we're going to move.
Gotcha.
So that's what's going on with Tesla, in my opinion, based on how I read the markets right now.
Hmm.
We are past probably a lot of bad news when it comes to Tesla because we're past earnings,
Right.
but we're caught with a little bit of attention. meaning the market is at all-time highs
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that, again, my interpretation of the markets, we're going to start selling off a little bit.
5%?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't gauge that. I can just tell you which way the flow is going.
Yeah.
It's all I can see, which way momentum is going. Right now, we're peaking. We're going to start selling off. It might be fast. It might be violent. It might be slow and steady. It might be 1%. It might be 5%. I have no idea.
Mhm.
But we're going to start selling off. That's what the signs or what everything is signaling towards. Now, that could be good or bad for Tesla. Probably bad. Now, what does Tesla have going on that could counteract that? In my opinion, the expansion of Austin. I
Yeah.
kind of think that's what will allow Tesla to deviate from the market or have less of a drawdown. And these rollouts, these expansions, rolling out into San Francisco, just the rumors of that is what kept Tesla up on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All right, instead of a selling off. So
Right.
you better believe that this matters and it's impacting Tesla. So I'm of the opinion that if we get a 10x increase in square mileage
Mm-hmm.
for the road taxi coverage in Austin,
Mhm.
if San Francisco goes live, if Arizona gets approved, if we start seeing this kind of roll out, I think that's what's going to allow Tesla to actually break out to the upside.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where we are right now. So to me, Randy, the reason we have kind of this smaller move compared to the rest of the market is the market doesn't know what it wants to do with Tesla yet. It doesn't know, and nobody wants to make a decision until we see a little more from Tesla and these rollouts. So that's my reading of where things are.
Okay. All right. And so let's switch over to the market. So that you're talking about a possible breather for the market because it's just so stretched. I talked about that this morning as well. I believe it is stretched. Now, what we had though today was we had the bonds, the yields come down on a pretty strong move. There was some buying in the bond market as these high beta stocks were being sold off. And the Magnificent Seven were being sold off. All of a sudden, people were putting the money into bonds, I think. So is this a possible move into the bonds finally as people are worried about the market being stretched?
I don't think people are actually worried about the market being stretched. I think the market is going to have a breather, right? You can't just go up forever.
Yeah.
You got to come down to go up. And I think we are definitely overstretched. I can't show you my other screen here. I would, but you can see indications right now. It looks like we're going to start having, lower closes on SPX, which is a really good barometer for where things are going.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect a little bit less of hitting all-time highs every day. We've been spoiled in many ways, except for Tesla investors. And I would expect that to come down. One good sign that we're losing momentum to the upside is that today we had job openings come out.
Right.
And we also had consumer sentiment.
Right.
They were both great numbers.
Yeah.
And we still didn't we still didn't grind higher.
We had other great numbers today. We had the imports were down, and we had the trade deficit down. We had housing prices, to your point, finally actually showing down in more cities than just St. Petersburg. But I mean, the overall move is now less year-over-year inflation in housing by a lot. In fact, I hit the number. I think I hit it on the nose, 2.7 on Sunday night, which is what it turned out to be. But more importantly, maybe, is the entire country is now starting to see places where prices are down year over year.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we've had EU news. The China talks were actually kind of decent. What was the other big news? There's something else that came out. Yeah. So there's a lot of good news that would have. Oh, the other thing is everyone knows that they're not cutting tomorrow.
Right.
We know that.
Right.
However, we also know there's a potential of two Fed members dissenting from the opinions.
Right.
I don't think there actually will be two because I think it'll be engineered through the statement to say things to sound dovish. I think tomorrow's meeting, the statements are going to, in a very strong manner, hint towards a cut in September, maybe even a 50 basis point cut in September.
Mm.
And if you do that, that could manufacture less dissent or no dissent.
Right.
It could happen. Waller probably will dissent no matter what because he's
Right. He's
positioning
running.
for Fed chair.
Right.
So we get that. But that was also essentially coming out into the news, into mainstream.
Right.
Even that did not move the
Right.
market.
Right.
So the news can be good, all that. The question is, what's the market doing? And the market said, we're tired. So
Yeah.
just, the news can be good, but you got to see what is the market doing with that news. And if on good news, the markets just seems tired, that means we ran a hard race. We've gone up. We've done a lot of good. Now it's time for a break. And so that's what I see happening or coming soon. And I think, honestly, the only company that could buck the trend is Tesla, because it's literally the only one not hitting all-time highs,
Right.
and the only one with a real
story,
true binary catalyst out there.
Yeah.
So,
Very, very, very much of a story. Okay, let's talk about that story. So over the weekend, we heard Elon and Lars both make statements that caused me to put out a video on Sunday morning that has got more views than almost anything I've done in 6 months. And that was, and my story, my concept was what they just announced without saying it out loud is what I had said 2 months ago, which is that there's not going to be any private. Tesla is not going to be selling cars to private individuals 2 years from now. Maybe it's 3. I pick your date, but between 2 and 3 years from now, they're not going to be making cars for private individuals. Maybe a few people will buy them, but they'll be expensive. Today, but at the same time, today or yesterday, I think it was, Lars also said, no, it was actually on Sunday also, or Saturday or Sunday, as part of that that deal up in California. Yeah. He said that, we've been talking a lot about doing a small pickup. So would a small pickup fit into my theory? Do we need an autonomous small pickup in order to make the Robotaxi thing, the overall ride hail thing work, so that if I'm a contractor, I want to go to the beach and take 5 bicycles, I'm a yard guy and I need to take my yard stuff to the next neighborhood. Do we need small pickups as part of the autonomous future?
Yes, especially in Europe.
That's right.
Especially in Europe.
Oh, especially in Europe. Okay. All right. You wouldn't think in the United States?
No, I didn't say we wouldn't in the United States. I'm saying especially in Europe.
Okay. All right. So that would fit into my theory.
Well, I don't know if I'm with you on the 2, 3, 4 years they won't be selling individual vehicles, or if they do, it'll only be extremely expensive ones. I don't think it'll happen that fast. Me 5 years ago would have told you probably that by 2025, 2026, nobody's not going to be buying Tesla. Nobody's going to want to buy a car that can't drive itself. But if, I think I try to iterate when I'm wrong about things. Now, I've been wrong very much on the Tesla story when it comes to timeline.
Sure.
I would say I've been right on the technology. I've been right on the guy. I've just been wrong on timeline and how quickly things will happen. Now, there's still something to be said for we haven't had a true B2C business yet.
Right.
Just because there's so much friction. Like, to use FSD, you have to buy a Tesla to begin with.
Right.
But Robotaxi makes it's frictionless. Right. If you've got an iPhone and you've got a couple bucks, you can use it. Mm-hmm. So that's very differentiated. So we'll see what that curve looks like. And that might validate what a lot of us have thought. But I'm taking a more conservative approach. And I would say what you're referring to would probably be about 10 years out. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But that's just me trying to iterate a little bit and trying to.
No, I get it. I've got people that are saying it'll be longer than that. My theory is that the other car companies might still be selling cars for private use, but that Tesla will need them all for the fleet.
Yeah, I mean, I I hope that we don't lose some of them, you know? Like there's going to be novelties, right? There's going to be,
Yeah.
I don't know, like motorcycles. Like you don't need motorcycles. They're dangerous. They're not safe. But they're fun.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a Harley guy and you love your Fat Boy, like you don't want it to drive itself. You want it for the, and you want to have that fat tire in the back, and you want a good rake, and you want it for there's something mechanical and you know primal about it.
Sure.
And so I hope we still keep that. Like I hope Porsche still has the 911. I hope, we still have pony cars. I hope, some of these iconic vehicles still exist, if for nothing else, for nostalgia. And they're just beautiful designs. But, I do think in about 10 years, they will be more for nostalgia and for a hobby. What's the word? An enthusiast.
It's actually amazing how long you can keep these American cars and European cars and Japanese cars running because, down in Cuba, they don't get many American cars new. And so they keep those cars running for hundreds of thousands of miles. They're very good at finding ways to keep them on the street. So, all right. So that's cool. All right. So, I'm 3 years, you're 10 years, somewhere between 3 and 10 years. That'll be the new expectation. I understand, speaking of expectations, that you know something on options and you're planning to share some of that. Again,
Nice threading.
I think you shared options information a while back, kind of as a little class, and that you sold out.
Yeah. So a few months ago, I did a private course where I taught people how to not only trade options, but how I trade options. And it went really well. In fact, I just reposted one of the individuals. He posted his profit for the month. He's up 22,000. So
For the
that's
month.
nice.
For the month.
Yep. My
Wow.
best friend Greg, he's having a record month for himself. He's up 47,000.
Nice.
So it's not a
Now
get rich.
they're starting with 500 million. So
Hey, if that were the case, I would be learning from them. But yeah, it's definitely not a get rich quick thing. It's
right.
slow, steady, risk management, very conservative. But if you guys are interested, on August 9th, I'm doing my last teaching for the year because I'm expecting a baby boy soon. So it'll be my last teaching course. It'll be one day, August 9th. It'll be a crash course on options. You don't need to know anything about options. Come with curiosity, and I will teach you how options work, what you need to know, what you don't need to know, the BS that's out there, and at the end of it, what I do to be profitable with options. If you're interested, DM me. My DMs are open for at least another week,
Okay.
and I will send you details on dates, times, how to get access, and how much the course costs. So
And if
thank
you
you, Randy, for letting me plug that.
sure, and if you don't remember what Nicholas's X number or handle is, you can go down in the information below. It is always there all the time. On the same subject that we were just talking about, it seems to me that the rollout, we were talking about the robotaxis, the rollout is going, this is another idea that a couple of other people have said, and then all of a sudden it just hit me how right they are, that it's going to be slow and cautious, like it is now, really slow, painstakingly slow and cautious, but that at some point, the technical aspect is going to be clear, and the logistical issues will be solved. They'll see that the cleaning and charging and all that, they'll be able to see those two things are done. And then I don't know what keeps it from exploding in terms of cities and numbers of vehicles, at least to the extent that there is demand.
Yeah, as long as they can get into California, Texas, and Florida,
Mhm.
it's over,
It's
right?
over.
Well, regulatory wise,
Right. Right.
Elon mentioned wanting to have access to 50% of the population, not 50% of the states, but population.
Right.
And three big states, California, then Texas, then Florida. If you cover those, even if every other state were to try to block you with regulators and whatnot, you have so much room to run in those three states that by the time they've even covered half of those states, every other state's going to be getting rid of unelecting those leaders just to
Right.
get robotaxis in there.
Right.
So right now, I don't think regulations are a hindrance to us because I think Tesla is still, I mean, it hasn't been that long, right?
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long at all. So I'm sure they're still ironing things out. We don't even know how many vehicles they have in Austin right now actually live. So I'm sure there's a lot of learning that they're doing, a
Mhm.
lot of validating. And but to your point, this is as slow as it will be. It will not get slower than this.
Right. Right.
Like this is it. It will only get faster from here. So and I think we'll see that. I know we haven't had a expansion in Austin in a couple weeks now,
Mhm.
but let's see how big this next expansion is
Right. Right.
because it may show the true scale of what's happening.
Right. Right. Exactly. All right. On another subject, I did a big analysis, big review of a AJ video over the weekend, and there was two places that I disagreed with him. I wanted to talk with you about. Talked with Larry last night to get his opinion. I'd just like to get yours as well. He was his projections all the way through 2028 showed no additional factories for megapacks. Do you think there's a chance in heck that we get to 2028 without more megapack factories, or how many megapack factories do you think we open between now and 2028?
Well, he's already wrong.
No, he's counting the three. We've
What
got
three?
before you got Houston.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, he's counting Houston.
yeah, counted Houston, but he wasn't
Okay.
counting any additional through 2028.
Um. Well, it would stand to reason that you would at some point leverage the land you bought in Mexico for something,
Mhm.
right? And South America is going to need batteries. So that would, make a lot of sense. And I think at some point you'd probably want to see something in Europe to localize supply. I mean, no, I mean, I would bet against that personally, but I don't know. Did he have any good arguments
No,
for
no, no.
why, or
He was
just
he just that it was just his projections, and maybe he thinks they will add. I maybe I should ask him, but he just didn't have it in his numbers.
hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd be surprised. I mean, they did Shanghai last year. Sounds like they're doing Houston this year. That's a long time to go without. And demand for batteries, we kind of had like funny enough, we were stuck between two waves.
Yeah.
When it comes to batteries, we had this exponential for electric vehicles. We were supply constrained, not demand constrained.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we had a glut of batteries, and that curve started to come down. But then 2022 hits, AI becomes a new
Right.
thing.
Right.
All these data centers, all of a sudden, we're constrained. We don't have enough electricity or ability to store electricity, and now we're seeing a demand curve inflection up. So you got to wonder what happens when data center demands for AI are skyrocketing up. EVs are actually starting to proliferate, and everyone wants an EV. So now there's a battery demand there. And on top of that, Robotaxi is putting even more fire or fuel onto that fire. What happens when all of it's happening at the same time and they all need batteries? What happens to
Oh,
the cost? So
yeah.
it just stands to reason that you would think there'd be more mega pack factories, there'd be more 4680 factories. You would just think that they would all be happening at the same time.
Right. Yeah. You need them for semis. You need them, and just the utilities are starting to get the point. I've noticed that Elon's been making that point over and over again about how you can double electricity just by adding batteries. I saw an analysis the other day that suggested he might be hyperbolizing a little bit there, but not a lot. It's
Well,
probably
not really, because right, you got all these like peaker plants.
right.
You produce throughout the day,
Mhm.
and they wind up and they wind down. Right, it's a
Mhm.
ugly sinusoidal wave, is what it is. And in the evenings, like there's a reason why many cities or states, depending on who your provider is, if you charge your vehicle or if you use electricity after say 7 p.m. Monday
Right.
through Friday,
Mhm.
it's more cost effective. Why? There's a reason, because there's not as much demand on
Right.
on the grid.
Right.
But if you could keep up the same capacity you have throughout the whole day, the busy day,
Mhm.
in the evening at night, but you store that,
Mhm.
you eventually can get to a place where you have so much surplus that you can tap for other usage.
Right.
And so you still need to add more ways to generate electricity,
Mhm. Mhm.
but you're essentially not using half the time that's available to you. So it's, believe it or not, a lot of ships do this. Diesel electric vessels, they
Mhm.
do this. They have huge capacitor banks that will sit there and they'll store a lot of energy, and that's not necessarily for the same reason, but
Right.
it's what they do it mainly to keep the electricity clean,
Mm.
so that they use diodes to make, anyways. But it's a similar concept, not for the same purpose, but it's a very similar concept. So it would stand the reason we would do that with our power grids here.
Right, right, right. So the second one, the other place that I was that apparently, at least, he believed was that the 50,000 semi trucks in Reno would be the end of it. That would be. I mean, again, he didn't say that they wouldn't build any new factories, but there was no numbers suggesting that there would be semis in Europe or semis in China or semis in South America or India. And it seems to me that there's even if 50,000 is all you're going to do in the US, which I think is even too low a number, I think they could probably do 100 or 125,000 in the US. You would think they would be expanding now that they've done all this work, that they would at least be doing Europe and China.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think it's a matter of if, it's just when.
Mhm.
There's so much land still left in Giga Berlin to build on.
Mhm.
And if you think about what would you do, maybe you would, and even the current factory, my understanding is there's still a lot of space, but there's still a lot of footprint left on the land that's not developed yet. So you still have the Cybertruck Mini, maybe Cybercab, obviously would have to be built there as well, and then the semi, right? So all that land that's left, you're not going to use that just for threes and Ys.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with that land?
Mhm.
So it just makes mega pack plant, Cybertruck, Mini, Cybercab, and semi. And I think China, well, it just makes sense for China to do it for everywhere else in the world, for Japan, for Australia, for all of Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
All right. Okay. So okay, we already talked about so the X you if you spend any time on X at all, you believe that the other party has they've missed the information that's out there. They've missed the fact that inflation is at 2% or 2.25. Atlanta Fed says 2.25. Trueflation is now at 2.1 year over year, 2.0 overnight, and has been for a week now, about 2.0 overnight. That inflation is over. They've missed the fact that rents are coming down, actually deflating. They've missed your analysis from 2 months ago that prices on houses were now coming down. Now it'll take a couple of months for the CPI to catch up on that housing
6.
information. 6 months. Yeah. So you've been talking about for 2 months. We only have 4 months to go anyway, but we'll start to see the housing numbers coming down in the CPI. But the other party doesn't seem to understand that. They keep talking about the prices going up. Are you confused by that? Do you think that it is completely that inflation is like done now, and that the Democrats better get off that hobby horse, or they're going to look even more foolish? Or what do you think?
Um, Hmm. I don't. I want to separate the two.
Okay.
So Democrats right now are going to try to find anything they can to gain any traction. And right now, while I agree that inflation is done, the reason their messaging may hold some traction is because the inflation that has occurred is still within the economy. The prices are still where they are. And so that persistent high cost of things that was created by, in my opinion, not even the previous administration, but Jerome Powell and his
Mhm.
people being
Mhm. Of
late. It's also the administration,
course. Right.
but it's a mix of things. But that is still being felt. And there's no denying it. You go out and one drink costs $16 to $25. Like, it's ridiculous. It's for a drink. It's crazy. Um, Electric prices are going up. I mean, just interest rates are still high. Housing prices are still high. Like you feel it, right? You can feel it in the economy, and so I think, and really this would go for either party. They would sink their teeth into whatever would help get the emotional side of the people and be like, "Oh, I'm with you. I'm with the people. Yeah, these things are crazy. This is all Trump's fault." But like the days of like gaslighting people, I think are kind of over. Like everyone knows that Trump just got in. This isn't a Trump thing. But at the same time, there is fact that things are still expensive. Things still haven't come down. So while we don't have inflation, in my opinion, we also don't have deflation yet.
Yeah.
And deflation is really what is probably needed. Not It doesn't have to be across the board,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you need to
So.
have deflation in some pockets.
Mhm. Mhm.
And full circle here, housing is probably going to be one of those right now. You're right. I have been talking about housing prices coming down because you see it in Florida.
Mhm.
And you got to keep in mind, Florida is where you'll see it start before you see it everywhere else. And so you're starting to see it trickle across the country. I
Yeah.
think at this point, the only place that isn't really seeing it is the Northeast.
Mhm.
But even there, you're starting to see markets soften. So that doesn't mean we're going to have a housing crash. I don't
Right.
think that's going to happen.
Right.
But it does mean prices are getting softer because something has to give. Interest rates aren't giving. Insurance prices aren't giving.
Right.
Property taxes aren't giving. You got to find something. And if you want to move your house, you got to do it. But ironically, as I'm sure you covered, we actually just had record home prices because people aren't willing to sell, and the only people buying are the people who can afford to buy.
Right.
So prices
Well,
are going to keep
yeah.
going up.
Oh, no, no, it's even more interesting than that. And I'm going to use just my own neighborhood right here. But I talked to my real estate guy across the street. Now, this neighborhood is all old like me. It's not an actual 55 and over, but it's kind of a 55 and over. It's a golf course community. And and he said the prices are not coming down very much, but if people don't get their price, they just take it off the market.
Exactly.
And this is also unusual, but the reason it's different is that most of the people, over 45% of the people in the United States have no mortgage. 45% have no mortgage. So if you have
Or,
no mortgage, you can sit on it
or Andy, you can just rent it out
or you can rent it out.
and you can make more money.
Right.
You know, like right now, if you want to go buy, just use easy numbers here. If you want to go buy $1 million house right now, you're probably going to look at tying up, say, roughly 20% of your capital.
Mhm.
So you're not benefiting from that. And then you're going to have to probably pay, I don't know, $7,500 if we're being generous a month.
Mhm.
Okay. Or I could not put down that $200,000 and I could rent it out and invest that money.
Right.
You could probably easily make 6 to 7 grand in rent on that house.
Mhm.
And you can, in my world, at least make 2% a month on that 200K.
Right.
So it makes no sense to sell.
Yes.
Like if you can't get what you want, like you just rent it out and put your money to work, and you just wait
Mhm.
because over time the market will flip and it will
Right.
be in your favor.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so that's kind of why, to your point, I don't think we're going to have one of those traditional, 30, 40, 50% crashes that we've seen before. There's
Not even
no
close.
there's no mechanical reason why that is going to happen. We don't have enough housing
It's
to
impossible. Like it's literally impossible, Randy. Like
yeah, not enough
it's
supply.
not possible
Yeah. Yeah.
because even if they cut rates, that will actually put more houses, I believe, on the market. Like
And
there'll be more supply because of that.
right.
But all that supply that's added will just get gobbled up.
Right. 100%.
And I keep hearing these people say stupid things like, "Oh, well, last time they cut rates, the 10-year went up." It's
Yeah.
like, all right, different era, different economy, different president, different everything. And if rates do come down, it like people were like what I was listening to is saying, oh, the rates don't really affect that much. What people need is their principal to be lower. It's like, yeah, true, but the rates matter a lot.
Also,
It's a
yes.
huge chunk of the cost of the house.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at the study or any amortization table
Right.
over the course of the loan, it's almost half, if not more, than
Right.
the cost of the house, anyways.
Right.
So don't tell me that the interest payment isn't as big of a deal. It's a
It makes
huge deal,
it makes a
it,
huge difference. Yeah.
especially when you have a high car note, you
Hmm.
got your student loans,
Yeah.
high house note. If you can refinance all those loans down to a lower rate, all of a sudden now you have like lower rates give you more tools, more levers, more ammunition,
100%.
and the country saves a lot of money.
Speaking of leverage, I also talked about this with Larry last night, but I wanted to get your opinion as well. What I have just witnessed, what you've just witnessed, what the country's just witnessed, but most people I don't think are paying any attention to it at all, is the most masterful use of leverage that I think I've ever seen in my life. And this was the leverage of the US consumer in world trade. So, I mean, it's been an absolute lesson. This needs to go into the business books to the extent that we still have universities in the future, or it can go online. But Trump has just shown us how to take something that you have that's an asset and use it, in this case, to completely change the world economic system. And
Yeah.
basically, all he was playing with, it was just one piece of information, and that is, do you want to trade in the United States or not? That was it. It's your
Well,
it's your entry fee.
people don't understand how big the U.S. economy is in relation to the rest of the world. Like people don't understand this. People don't understand the size of the U.S. stock market
Right.
compared to the rest of the world. Like we are the sun in size proportion, and the rest of the world is the earth.
Right.
Like I know that sounds drastic, but just sit with that for a second. Like California is the fifth biggest economy in the world.
Fourth now.
California,
I
one
think
of our states.
I think it's fourth now.
Okay, fourth. My numbers aren't going to be
Yeah.
exact, guys.
Yeah.
Things change
Yeah. Yeah.
here
Yeah.
and there, right? But just everything I'm going to say is within the standard deviation of accuracy.
Yeah.
But California, that's a state. That's a state in our country, okay? The market cap of one of our companies is bigger than most economy. Literally, I think all but like 6 economies in the world.
Right.
NVIDIA alone. NVIDIA
Yeah.
alone is bigger than all those other economies in the world.
Right.
They're part of our stock market. They're one company within
company.
our
Yeah.
stock market.
Right.
Like the sheer magnitude of how big let's just call it our balance sheet, our asset sheet is as a country. And why is it so powerful? Why is it so big? Not just because of our innovation, our great entrepreneurs, and our ability to in some ways, get out of people's ways and let them build and innovate, but because of you, because of all of us, because we are a consumer nation. For better or worse, we are a consumer nation, and all the wealth comes here. And so all the buying power comes here for the world. So we are the engine that keeps the world economy going. So nobody wants to be without.
Mhm.
Without us, every other country's screwed.
Right.
Period. At the end of the day, China will come to a screeching halt before it ever affects us. You know
Mhm.
what? People might cry about not getting their nail polish or their t-shirt, or, oh, things got a little more expensive. That's going to be the troubles that we would have.
Mhm.
What they would have
Mhm.
is a social problem.
Right.
Manufacturing plants shutting down, people rioting, people not having jobs. China intentionally puts people into jobs even though they don't need them, just to keep people employed.
Mhm.
Now, we not saying there's no risk to US.
Sure.
Obviously, they have a lot of rare earth metals that we need. They do have a lot of manufacturing expertise that we don't have. So it's not like, it's just a paper cut for us. It would hurt. It would be broken leg, broken arm, black eye, but it wouldn't be a TKO for us. It would be for China. And it would be like a Cold War situation where it's like, go for it. We can go tit for tat. At the end of the day, we're the bigger economy. Good
Right.
luck.
Right.
We'll go as far as you want to go. We're not going to blink. So, and Trump knows that. And so he's got the ultimate, it's like, guys, what are we doing here? Why are we wasting our time here? And that's why he finally said, you know what? Tariffs are on.
Right.
That's it. They're on.
Right.
And all of a sudden, look what happens.
Right.
There's a reason why he keeps playing the same thing, not because he's soft or he's wishy-washy. It's because he knows the second he decides to play hardball, they're going to come because they have no choice. They will kill their economy otherwise. So I'm with you. It's like no other president has had this awareness
Yeah.
of what we are.
Yeah.
And if we don't use it now, then when?
Yeah. And then hopefully the next president picks up the cue and continues, America first thinking in the same way. All right, last subject for the day. I think you and I might have talked about it before, but it's worth saying over and over again because there's always new people and there's always people that still don't get it, still argue with me on X about it. So I've been in import-export my entire life. I don't know if you've had opportunity to be involved in things that needed to be imported or exported, but if there is a change in the cost of doing business in import-export, so if I'm importing, let's say from China, which I do right now, I currently import from China. If I'm importing from China and the cost of the container goes up, or the cost of the currency goes down or up, or if they have a raw material shortage of some kind and the price of something has to go up, or for what a million different reasons, including tariffs. If the price of that product all of a sudden goes up, everybody in the supply chain goes, oh no, what are we going to do about this? The people on this, the people on X and people who fight with me on this, who think that you can just change the price in China, the exporter or whoever's the actual exporter just changes the price to the importer in the United States, and then the importer in the United States just changes the price to his customer and through the chain until it gets to retail and the consumer, and that everybody just pays 15% more because the price went up in China by 15%, has no idea how that works.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Everybody in the chain goes, oh no, what can we do to solve this? Because if we couldn't sell it for $1.15 last week instead of $1, then we can't sell it for $1.15 next week instead of $1. That was the price. That was the price that everybody agreed on was the right price for that product at this time. And just because we ran out of oil, or just because there was a problem with charging more for containers because of the Red Sea, it doesn't mean I can charge $1.15 and get it.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people who are right in a vacuum. Like on paper, that makes sense, Andy. Everything you just talked about, like that's logical, right? It's like, hey, at the end of the day, just pass the consumer. Like price is what it is. Do you want or do you not want it? Right? Like that seems very logical. Makes sense. But the truth is, to your point, the more realistic way that I think things work is that everybody shares in the pain. Everybody figures out where they can help out. like, let's put an example.
Can I say it the opposite way?
Sure.
Everybody freaks. They're not looking, oh, what can we do? No,
Well,
oh my gosh, we're going to lose Walmart. Oh my gosh, we're
well,
going to lose
exactly. Yeah.
America.
Yeah. So exactly. So, but I don't think people freak out per se. I think it's more that people try to, or companies try to show, hey, this is why you're in business with me. Let me give you an example. Elon Musk is the biggest acquirer of NVIDIA GPUs. There's no one who acquires more.
Right.
A lot of these chips have to go into servers that NVIDIA doesn't sell.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but there's all different types of GPUs. Anyways, Elon has a really strong relationship with Michael Dell. We know that. It's no secret.
Mm-hmm.
Tariffs come on, price go up, whatever. And Elon's been buying exclusively from Dell. I guarantee you, if something like that happened, Michael Dell would call up Elon and say, hey, listen, I know it's going crazy. I know prices are going to go up. We're going to have to raise a little bit, but this is what we're going to do to try to cut it and mitigate as much as possible. And we're going to go down to our downstream suppliers and tell them that they need to do whatever, because otherwise they're going to miss out on all these orders, and we'll just find another vendor. We'll go to their competitor who's been trying to get this business forever, and we'll go to them. But we're going to make sure that we do everything we can. I'm sorry, Elon, it's going to cost you a little more, but we're going to do everything else so you don't have to take the brunt of this, and we're going to spread this out. That's what a good partner does. Mm-hmm. That's what someone who's loyal and says, hey, I'm not going to lose your business. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to be straight with you. And I'm telling you right now, that happens every single day with very big companies that I interface with. There's no mincing words. There's straight. This is how you know when you're a good partner, a good client. And what you can say client or customers. I actually don't like using those words, because when you're truly in a relationship with another company, you're a partnership. Mm-hmm. And so a partnership knows how to have give and takes. And so the way you know you have a good partner is when bleep hits the fan. What do you do to leave a lasting impression to make the other person feel like that they had my back? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, the good companies seize on these opportunities. When everything's going to hell, they use that as the opportunity. Well, it sucks. We're going to figure this out, but I'm going to make sure I leave a lasting impression on Elon so he never forgets when something happens again. It was Dell that came in and said, hey, we're going to make sure that you barely feel this. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, that's happening. That ripples across. Sure. And that's what keeps the top companies at the top. It's these partnerships. And that's why it's so hard to break into these accounts. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to get in there. You think HP is not trying to get in there, take the Dell business?
Sure they are.
Are you kidding me? You think Supermicro is not in there trying to get the Elon business? Of course they are. Everyone's trying to get in there. But Dell has it locked up. You know, battery, same thing. You know, you think TSM isn't freaking out right now that the Samsung deal just happened with Elon? Yeah. You don't think that just happened? You don't think they're sitting there? Yeah. You don't think Elon strategically said, we're very lucky to work with both of them? No. These things happen. And if for no other reason, this could have just been a wake-up call to TSMC. Right. To say, hey, we can go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think people definitely, to your point, like they think it's just, just have Elon pay for the whatever. If he wants them, he has to. It's like, it's much more valuable to protect your relationships, to keep your clients, to keep your book of business, because guess what? There's something even more important. When Larry Ellison reaches out to Elon, when Chamath reaches out to Elon, when someone else reaches out to Elon, say, hey, we're thinking about signing this huge contract with Dell, but HP is saying this. What do you think Elon's going to bias towards? Like this is really how business works.
Sure, of course.
In the real world. So on paper, yeah, make the end consumer eat it. In reality, that's the fastest way to lose a client.
Right. And you're talking about really, really big companies. And of course, I come from the very small business world, the very, very small businesses doing $200,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year in total volume. And maybe in some cases, the guy that I import with, his total business might be 500,000, 600,000 a year, and he buys 100% of it from China. So when the cost of the containers went up during COVID, he was paying, instead of $1,200, a couple of $1,000 for a container, he's paying $20,000 for a container. And you can't just eat that, And so to your point, of course, he's got his friends who he sells to, but you know who the ultimate person who's not really much of a friend is? The consumer. So if what you do in that chain with your friends and your partners doesn't take into consideration what that retail is going to be, that final price, then it doesn't matter. You can all be friendly and say, okay, I'll eat this much and we'll pass this much along to the consumer. And the consumer says no.
Yeah, but I mean, but that's how it happens, though, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's
everyone
how it
eats as
happens.
much as they
100%.
can.
No, you're right.
Even the consumer is part of that equation. The
Yeah.
consumer has to eat some of it too.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to have that conversation with you to get your thinking on it. So let's take a look at where things are today, unless there was something I left out.
I don't think you did. You don't normally.
Tesla ended up at 321 during the day and is at 320 and 60 cents in the after hours right now. So basically flat in the after hours. If we go and look at those bonds, which is always at the top of my list. Whoops, they haven't changed yet. Unless, well, maybe they're unchanged. It's possible that they're unchanged. Oh, see, they're unch. They're unch. Anyway, but they came down nicely earlier today, $4.33% from 4.41. So this is a pretty nice drop today in yields. Happy to see that. So we talked about that a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a little bit of a. I don't think they think that Trump's trip to see J-Pow is going to change anything tomorrow.
I don't think there will be any change. Again, I think it's all in the statement, and I think you're going to start seeing the market price in a
September.
Yeah, but hear me out on this.
Okay.
50 basis point cut.
Okay. All right.
Heard it here first.
We know that the president wants 100. He wants 100. Actually, he wants 300.
Yeah.
Whoops! The bonds have just popped here, down another 0.2. So 4.326 now. All right. Oil has been going up quite a lot, but this is all about the Russia thing. So we're back just under $70 at $69. It's all about the possibility that we will tell Russia they can't ship.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. It's always entertaining.
It's
never not.
That's right. Natural gas is trying to go below 3. And it's pretty funny because usually there's at least a little bit of relationship with natural gas and oil. And right now, natural gas is sitting down very close to, what you would consider to be dramatic lows. But I have no explanation for that. California's had a mild winter. I'm sorry, what is this? Summer? California's had a very remarkably mild summer, so much so that it's made headlines. Been very, so that could be. I mean, I'm sure we use a tremendous amount of natural gas for air conditioning here in California. So that could be an impact. I should check into that. And if we're having a mild summer, maybe Arizona and Nevada are also. I'm not sure. We'll have to. I'll check that. Gold 33.26 had a huge run up into the 34.50 range and came back down that 100 and some. Any thoughts on why gold has been so wild?
I mean, nothing different than what we've talked about for the last few months. There's just a safe haven. I mean, with everything happening with our debts, where rates are, you're just going to see gold and Bitcoin continue to grind higher. I mean, it, I would argue this president's going to have to deal with it, but I think for sure the next president's going to have a physical crisis on his hands.
What happens if July's national debt, I'm sorry, national balance of what's the right word for it? What if next month's deficit
Their deficits.
what if we don't have a deficit again in July? What if the July number is also positive? Well, what'll that do to markets?
Honestly, probably not too much,
Really?
if I'm being honest. Yeah.
2 months in a row of not having a deficit?
You need more than two plots for trend, Randy. We all know that.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty remarkable to have 2 months in a row because it would suggest that maybe they could keep it up.
Maybe.
They've come up with a new method for, have you heard about the pocket rescission?
Nope.
Okay, so you've heard all about rescission.
Yep.
Okay, so rescission is the idea that the administration sends Congress a rescissionary note that they don't need this amount of money for this department. They just did a rescission. It's about 9 billion. Most of that was USAID. So they've got another 150 billion that they would like to do that with, but you have to send a bill or send a list, and then Congress votes on it. And it's hard to get Congress to get 60 votes to get that done. They got the one done. So they'd be sending down these rescissions over and over again. If they send a rescission within the last 45 days of the fiscal year, which would mean after August 16th, if they send a rescission within that period and Congress doesn't act, it becomes a fact. It's called a pocket rescission. It's been done before. It's 100% legal.
Wait, say it again. Wait.
If they send a rescission to Congress after August 16th, within 45 days of the end of the fiscal year, October 1st, they send it within that period and Congress doesn't act. They don't.
What do you mean by they don't act?
They don't vote it up. They don't vote it down. So they don't act.
So what if they don't bring it to a vote?
If they don't bring it to a vote, that's not acting. If they don't act. So it's a pocket. You've heard of a pocket veto. Well, similar to a pocket veto, it's a pocket rescission. And so it becomes a fact if the Congress does not take action.
By fact, I mean law. So in other words,
Yeah,
de facto, it's rescinded.
Right. Exactly.
Pocket, I'm gonna have to look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that just popped up.
I learned something new today.
That just popped up yesterday. I thought that was brilliant. All right.
Let's look into that.
Right. Okay. So, man, big earthquake just hit Russia. Holy mackerel, 8.0. Man. Okay. Sorry, headline popping across.
Okay.
That is a big earthquake. Okay, let's go here. We were on gold and then currencies. The dollar's got a long way to go to be even reasonably priced. Copper ain't going anywhere. It's at 465, 466. It's going to probably stay in that range for a very long time. You heard about a lot of copper mines starting up, or adding to what they're already doing, or considering increasing what they're doing. Yeah. And then Bitcoin flat today, 117.8. Thoughts on Bitcoin?
Kind of goes back to my whole point of things cooling off. Where Bitcoin goes, the market goes. That's been the trend. So when you see Bitcoin starting to slow down, a little bit of sell-off, I'm telling you, watch out.
Okay.
Market. I'm not saying we're going to crash.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the breather's coming.
I get you. All right. And then on the equities, pretty flat here. Dow down 0.04, S&P up 0.03, and NASDAQ up 0.10. So about as flat as you would ever see it in the pre-market. That's all we have for today in terms of numbers. Any last thoughts for the accumulated crowd out there? By the way, you had a huge week last week. I don't know what you did right. We had big numbers last week. Like, I don't know, 12, 14,000, something like that. I don't know why we had so many people watching you.
I have no idea. No, I guess my only final thought here, Randy, would be kind of what we were talking about before. I think it's a good life lesson. I obviously learned this from someone else, but whenever, you know, things are hitting the fan, all is going bad, whether it's at work, in life, their family, yeah, things are going bad and things aren't going great, whatever it is. But this is also a prime opportunity moment to establish yourself as what type of partner are you? What type of husband are you? What type of father are you? What type of friend are you? Are you the one that's proactively showing up? Are you the one that's sitting there and just doing the thing that has to get done regardless? Are you the one that is going above and beyond for your partner, your client, your wife, your kids, your friend? It's just the opportunity. And there are very few times in life where you can leave a impact that makes someone feel something. And those are the moments that people truly remember, is how you made someone feel.
Mhm.
Even if it's a stranger.
Mhm.
If you could impact the way a stranger feels,
100%.
a lady falls on the ground, you help her up. Like these things are so impactful. And yeah, don't miss out on those opportunities. You could change someone's life and leave an impression.
That was so well said. I hate to even say this, but today, if the lady falls down, somebody just takes out their camera
That's awful.
and puts it on
That's
YouTube
awful.
or TikTok.
Oh God.
I'm sorry that I couldn't help myself. Nicholas Gibbs, thank you for coming on. Everybody should sign up for his course. He obviously has got some smarts. I wouldn't have him on the channel if he wasn't here. He's also going to be one of the co-authors on the book. So that's a double thing. You see how much respect I have for him. So sign up for his course. It could be, hey, it might be $10,000, but you going to say on the air how much it is, or you just want them
It's
to?
$1,000.
It's $1,000 for the day. Okay, so DM him. You're going to make the 1,000 back like in a month off your $5 million.
Better not take that long.
In your $5 million invested, you'll get it back, your $1,000 back really fast.
Thank you.
Yes, to all of you
You're
out
too
there.
kind.
See, thanks for being on, and to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.